Good afternoon and welcome to Dorrien Gardens for the Belt Up State Cup Final between Bayswater City and Floreat Athena. My name's Tommy Dolman. I'll be calling you through this one this afternoon, a game between two teams progressing well in season 2019.
The national anthem of Australia, performed by the Coastal Scottish Pipe Band.
We'll pause temporarily for the national anthems and we'll be back with you shortly.
To 1898.
I can tell you we'll be having a minute's silence for former Bayswater and Floreat player Paul Hallam, who sadly passed away earlier in the week.
Player Paul Hallam, who passed this week prior to the cup final. On the referee's whistle, we'll take that minute's silence.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon on the Football West YouTube channel or Facebook page, wherever you may be watching us. Cup final weekend means the NPL WA takes a break, but we've already had two games today. In the Under-18s Cup final, Bayswater City won 4-3 on penalties against Sorrento after a 2-2 draw, and then the Perth Glory won 3-1 against Coburn City in the reserves tie. These two teams have already met in a cup final this season, with Floreat beating Bayswater 6-5 on penalties in the pre-season night series final in March. So let's hope we get an equally exciting and close contest this afternoon. Delighted to introduce one of my co-commentators to the coverage this afternoon. You may hear him across the NPL WA coverage at a game that I'm most likely not at. His name's Louis Granich. Louis, great to be with you this afternoon. What are you expecting today?
I'm expecting another classic, Tommy. It's great to be here at Dorrien Gardens for this cup final, and we saw the night series final. It was a gritty contest, went right down to the final whistle. Same again in round two. It was 2-2 down at Frank Drago as well. So just another hard-fought contest, and we spoke earlier before the broadcast, match winners all over the park, and looking to see who will put their best foot forward today.
Yeah, I think you're right, Louis. It's been a pretty tightly contested 3 games between these two teams this season, as the teams just pose for a photo in front of us before the final. Hopefully they'll be wanting to pose for a second one after the game, preferably with the trophy. As you mentioned before, Louis, 2 draws in terms of the night series pre-season final and the league game, with an outlying 4-1 win for Bayswater in round 13, where they did win 4-1. And Daryl Nicol scoring a brace that day, and in the earlier season league meeting, looks set to be the player to watch in this game.
Well, he certainly is. He's the reigning gold medal winner, recently transferred from ECU Juniors earlier in the off-season, along with a few players, Gordon Smith, Adam Tong. And so Bayswater were busy in the off-season and those summer signings perhaps taking a while to gel, but you've seen the likes of Nickel really hit form recently.
So both teams are eyeing off wins against fellow NPL sides from around the country this midweek when the FFA Cup round of 32 begins. Bayswater face Olympic FC of Brisbane, with Floreat also on the road against Adelaide Olympic. The national stage awaits, but first silverware is up for grabs in the form of the belt-up State Cup final. It's Bayswater versus Floreat, and we're underway. Floreat kicking us off from the left to the right of your screen as you watch it, wearing their white kit. And they're on the front foot early as Griffiths intercepts and manages to get the ball back to Spence, and away it goes downfield, and that one will stay in touch. Colley, and now Evans links up with a teammate, and Moulton plays safe all the way back to Madashi, who launches downfield. The ball hanging around in that middle third of the pitch so far. So team news today, Louis. John Steins obviously was the notable absentee on the Floreat sheet. What impact do you think that will have on their front three in particular?
I just think Steins offers that extra dimension, that bit of flair and goal-scoring threat in the front third. Philip Arnold also a capable customer on the other side, but I think Steins is. We saw him in the night series final getting on the score sheet. He's been able to do it in big games, and yeah, a massive miss for any side, but for this Floreat side in particular.
Here's Madashi, a very experienced player, ex-Perth Soccer Club, so knows this ground very well, of course. Boy, little dink pass through, looking for Arnold, who's onside here, and in behind the Bayswater defence, stood up by Tong. Ball laid back for the edge of the area, looking for Boy, and he does win the ball, the former player of the year, Ludovic Boy, and finds Moulton on this left-hand side, but that's good defending from Pearson, who gets his body in between the ball and Moulton concedes the free kick. Here's Hesketh, linking up with Brent Griffiths. Long ball forward, there's looking for Nickel, and there's a whistle. I'm not sure what that one was for, Louis. I'm not sure if you spotted that, but perhaps there was a collision off the ball.
Yeah, certainly an infringement in the Bayswater defensive area there. Just Griffiths in particular, we've seen him join Bayswater later on through the season, and every time I've seen his play, he's been such an assured customer, just in either that back two roles, a centre back, or just protecting the back four. And I'm excited to see him here today and see what he can do.
Game underway again as Kay retreats all the way back to Spence, and he in turn looks out for Adam Tong, who struck that last gasp equaliser against Perth Soccer Club at this venue last week. He's done it a couple of times at this venue this season, including the cup tie against Perth where they won 3-2. He scored what proved to be the winner. As Boy's ball goes forward, Kay looked as if he misjudged that for a second, and Petkov raced through. Couldn't put the pressure on Spence though, and Bayswater come back with possession again. Now there's a player down in Bayswater's defensive half. It looks like Giordano Colley. And I must admit, I wasn't looking at what happened there. I was following the ball.
He seems to be on his haunches, Colley. He's sort of burst onto the scene into this first team throughout this season. Made his name in the night series and was in and out of the side from the first part of the season. But he's played his way back into the lineup, forming a nice partnership with Daryl Nickel. But he does look a bit worse for wear here, the youngster.
He almost looks winded and took a little bit of a splash of water to the face, and Josh Manella's obviously just making sure he's okay, and I think Colley will have to come off the ground temporarily before he's waved back on. He looks okay to continue though, which is obviously a good thing. Cup finals certainly aren't games that you want to be departing after 4 minutes.
Especially for him, such a young player. He's played his way into this side. It would be such a shame he can't continue, but he does make his way back out onto the pitch.
Real breakthrough season for Colliers. Louis touched on 5 NPL goals, including a brace for Stirling in their 6-1 win. He returned to the starting 11 a fortnight ago after a short spell out. As light rain starts to fall here at Dorrien Gardens, and a few crowd members in those front rows start to retreat underneath the shelter where we are, as Nicol looks to put the cross in. It's cut out by Nicholas Ambrosio. Pass on to Evans. He links up again with Ambrosio, and forward it goes looking for Petkov, but Bayswater match them at the back and come away with possession again. Mirko looking to exchange passes with Griffiths on this left-hand side, and Gallen should let this run out of play, and he did try to, but Smith conceded the foul, showing a little bit of over-enthusiasm to try and win the ball. Of course, that ECU duo of Gordon Smith and Daryl Nicol has been so pivotal to Bayswater's front three fluidity this season. Louis, you've obviously seen a lot of them. They really just look as if they're starting to work into peak form, aren't they?
Yeah, certainly so. 2 great signings, so important for ECU last season and this season for Bayswater. An interesting thing is the role of Jason Mirko, though. He initially started out in the season often as a right winger, as he is naturally right-footed with plenty of pace. But as the season's gone on, Nicol has found himself out on the right-hand side. So it's almost there deciding who to put out on this left, and Chris Coyne likes to chop and change it. But as the last few weeks have gone on, we've seen Nicol out on the right and having probably a bit more of an effect.
Colley's in the wars inside 6 minutes. He's down once again, and I'm not sure whether this is a related knock to the one that he suffered a couple of minutes ago or whether it's something else. He's definitely hobbling. And we'll have to wait and see whether Giordano Colley will be able to continue. It doesn't look like Chris Coyne is turning to his bench just yet. As Griffiths turns away from trouble and looks out wide for Ryan Pearson, whose deflected shot in the back half of last weekend's game with Perth proved to be what won the corner for Tong to equalisers. Floreat win the foul in midfield. I think that was Jesse Fuller who was fouled. Quick ball forward here, looking to catch Bayswater off guard, and that runs out of play for a goal kick. So obviously these two teams, as a reward for getting to the Belt-Up State Cup final, Louis, are playing in the FFA Cup. Both of those ties are on Wednesday, and you'll be able to see those on Fox Sports. It's obviously a good thing that these NPL WA teams are able to test themselves against other NPL teams. It gives them a real chance of advancing to the next round. How good a chance do you think these two are of really giving this a shake during the week?
Well, obviously, from a WA perspective, we'd love to see them, put their best foot forward. But I was hearing a conversation from a few of the Bayswater staff, and they're saying straight after this game, they're going to be off on a plane looking to watch Olympic play. So it's going to be a tall order.
Rain really begins to team down now as Millard tries to put the cross in. Sorry, Louis, I'll let you get back to that. There was a foul on Arnold in midfield, though. And a few of the locals in the crowd baying for an early yellow card. I think it may just be a talking to for Josh Manella, a second foul of the game for Bayswater. Sorry, Louis, I'll let you finish your point.
Yeah, just with the cup fixtures, obviously 2 away fixtures, and from a Perth and a WA football fan, I was hoping to get a game perhaps down at Frank Drago at Dorrien Gardens, but when we watched the live stream and the decision came in, the draw with the away fixtures, both teams very excited to have a trip away South Australia and the eastern states as well.
Of course, there will be a game at Dorrien Gardens as well, with Perth Glory playing the Western Sydney Wanderers here in their round of 32 tie. So, still plenty of opportunity for the local fans to get down to a local ground and take in some football. I'm sure they'll be hoping that the conditions are a little bit better than this, as Nicol on a skidding turf loses control of the ball, and that's out for a throw-in. Two teams who have had different paths to this final today. Bayswater with a tougher route than their opponents, with a grind against Gosnells before coming back to win over Coburn and Perth. And then they edged their way past Rockingham by a solitary goal in a game that they probably did deserve to win despite the scoreline. Whereas Floreat Athena have had a largely comfortable run through to the final as Evans turns away from Collie. They made light work of Kelmscott and Kingsway in the earlier rounds before a tough 1-0 win at Balcatta as Petkov advances on goal and gets a strike off, but he didn't catch it, and Spence can watch it wide. Before a thrilling semi-final against Floreat, where Jesse Fuller scored the decisive penalty in a game that was full of penalties overall. I think there was 3 in total, and that was before the shootout even happened. An incredible game, that one there, and that was Floreat's first major test as they got to this stage. But in cup football, as we know, Louis, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's about getting the results and getting to this big stage, which is ultimately what you want to compete for as a player.
Yeah, well, Dean Evans...
Cut out ball here. It's Boy that nicks the ball off Griffiths. Josh Manella blows his whistle. Now, was that committed outside the area? I think it was. Manella makes an indication that the shirt was pulled by Griffiths there. Griffiths
just a bit laboursome on the ball there.
He was. His pocket was pinched by Boy, and Griffiths knew what he was doing there with the pull. I don't think there was a yellow card brandished by the referee. But nevertheless, it's a free kick in a dangerous position, and Boy and Evans will definitely like the look of this. Two players very capable from this range. Adrian Madashi's also a little bit further wider, but I'd be surprised if he hits it, with Evans and Boy lurking. It'll be Evans to hit. It's into the wall and cleared by Nickel. But he's still forward as Gallen looks to go along and pick out a teammate. It may yet run to Evans at the back post. Pearson had to be alert, and he got it away at the second time of asking.
Just a bit disappointing there from the captain, Dean Evans, as he tosses the ball out for a throw. Just expect more from his set pieces. He's normally such a assured customer in the middle of the park, and from set pieces he's very reliable, but he'll be hoping for better.
Moulton's throw in. Saldaris tried the flick on, and Ambrosio competed with Collie in the air, and the quick release is looking for Smith upfield. Two Floreat defenders were there to make sure Smith didn't get a sniff. And now there's a
Gallen who
late challenge.
In, and he's putting his weight around Dennis Gallen.
And Gallen didn't look too impressed with the challenge there. Manella's over there trying to calm things down, but he's got the notebook out, and it looks like Bayswater will be the first team to pick up a yellow card this afternoon. Confirmation on that card for you shortly, but I think it was Gordon Smith who was chasing back to try and win position back for Bayswater. And he must now see out 77 minutes, plus potential added time with a yellow card to his name.
He's a physical player, so it's a tall order, and he'll have to play with a handbrake on.
Madashi's ball forward will run all the way through to Spence. Devon Spence, who's played in just about every game for Bayswater this season, definitely every NPL WA game, and he's had 4 clean sheets. Long-standing player with the club. He actually signed a short-term contract with the Perth Glory in 2013 as an injury replacement for Jack Duncan, who has since gone on to play in the A-League and overseas in Denmark. Real good shot stopper, as is Jason Saldaris too. Real guns when it comes to the goalkeeping position. A poor ball forward here, cut off by Collie. And now here's Millard out wide, another of the former ECU players with time to pick a pass. Mirko into Collie, who looks okay after his early knock. Bayswater looking to build an attack here, but Pearson's pass is cut out by Fuller. And now Floreat look to just maintain a little bit of possession on their own. Keeping the ball's always a challenge on a day like this where conditions are a little slippery, Louis. There's Phil Arnold on this left-hand side. I thought he may have been offside, but he comes inside and Pearson's over to whack that into touch.
Well, that's one of the things that we're sort of interested to see is with the departure of Steins, where Arnold will find himself. He started out on the right-hand side, he's now on the left, and it looks like it's Ludovic Boy who's operating that as that other winger as the ball comes in.
Moulton's flick and clearance completed by Griffsoni as far as Evans, and then hit by Boy. Not the power to test Spence though, but a little half chance there for Floreat on the edge of the area, and we know Boy can hit them. He's a gold medal winner previously, as I said before, back in 2015. He only scored 4 goals last season, but he's had a pretty frustrating spell with injury over the past couple of seasons, and his goal in the 3-0 win against Coburn a fortnight ago was his first of the NPL after several cameos. It's good to have Ludo back in the starting lineup for Floreat. We know how dangerous he can be, Louis.
Yeah, he certainly is good to have him back, and as we've mentioned a few times, he's got that pedigree, but yeah, just hasn't enjoyed the most coherent season. He's worked his way back into the lineup with a number of departures and injuries as well, so he's sort of making light of a bad situation, but he's in the cup final and looking to get back to his best.
Young bench for Floreat today, as you may have seen a bit earlier on. A couple of youngsters who have made appearances in the first team this season, but cup final is a completely different caper. Jordan Barbus, Jack Painter-Andrews, Robert Harding and George Fester, who've all excelled in the lower age groups for Floreat this season. Harding in particular with 12 goals in 12 games at under 20 level, and may well be a dangerous outlet with his pace later on in the game as Fuller looks to spread the play. The penalty shootout hero in the semi-final, of course. Finds Gallen, who looks for the feed of Evans. It's picked up by Boy. He's got Petkov waiting, but it's headed away by Tong. Now here's Mirko. Looks for his skipper in Trent Kay. Such a durable and solid defender is Trent Kay. Plenty of experience back there for Bayswater, and obviously lifted the cup for Bayswater back in 2014 when they last won this competition. 2 cup wins in total for Bayswater, with a back-to-back success in 2013 and 2014 when they were really dominant in that early NPL era. Of course, the NPL was initiated in 2014. So 18 minutes in, and it's Bayswater City 0, Floreat Athena 0. How have you seen the opening stages of this one, Louis?
We haven't really seen either keeper tested with a really direct effort, so just both teams sort of a bit cagey so far, feeling each other out, and that's what you'd expect. These sides have so much quality, and they just wouldn't want to make a mistake so early in the cup final. We saw the night series final was also a pretty cagey affair, but as so often happens in the NPL and at this level, the longer the game goes on.
Pearson's ball into the middle is cleared away by Moulton. Arnold will prevent that from going out for a corner, but in turn he's turned over possession, and Griffiths will pick it up. He's got a little bit of space to operate here. And Tong will look forward for Nickel, who's in behind here, and Madashi does really well to cut that out, but he didn't get there before the ball crossed out of play, and the linesman is flagging a corner. So a first set piece of the afternoon for Bayswater. 2 half chances up at Floreat's end so far. Can Bayswater create one here. It's Colley with both hands in the air, putting it in, and it's headed away by Ambrosio, I think that is. Boy looking to hold possession up and wait for support, and he dances around Millard and wins the free kick.
He's pretty fortunate to win the free kick. It was probably a foul, but he ran out of real estate while he was at it.
Did really well to hold up possession though there, Louis. He's not the biggest frame, is Ludo Boy, but he's very good with keeping possession and holding onto the football, and he's got really nice close control.
Yeah, great balance, great agility, and a smooth operator.
Evans spreads the play here, looking for Chris Saudaris. He's got Ludo Boy running ahead of him, and he's got possession now, one-on-one with Millard, and his ball's looking for Petkov, but Petkov didn't read the cross to the near post, and Spence was able to gather no problem.
Petkov's a really interesting one, as Evans looks to press here.
Evans looked to press Kay for possession, but Kay was showing all that experience to get the ball wide to Millard, and now Hesketh plays forward looking for Smith, who's on a yellow card, remember. Gallon's back there to tidy up though.
Just to go back to Petkov, he's had such a great start to the season for Floreat, coming in from Stirling, and he started the season like a house on fire. I think it was 6 goals in 7 appearances, but he's just tailed off, and I'd really like to see him get back to his best, but just hasn't really had the rub of the green lately.
Yeah, you're right, Louis. It was a hot start for Petkov. He actually scored in his first 5 NPLWA games this season, and he's tailed off a little bit. He's still got 7 for the season. As Fuller nicks possession and looks to play in Petkov. Would have been a very timely strike for Robert Petkov. He joined Floreat mid-season last year and scored 5 goals in 11 games to close 2018. As Bayswater launch forward here, it's Nickel. He's one-on-one with Moulton, and the cross comes in. I'm not sure if that was on target, but Madashi got ahead to it, and it'll be a second Bayswater corner.
Yeah, first chance we've seen Daryl Nickel run at the defence, and he's such a tricky customer. Puts a lot of effort into maintaining his body and the level that he reaches on a consistent basis, and that'll happen a few more times this afternoon. Looking
for that far corner, I think, Nickel. He only really had one player to support him in the middle, and in the end a set piece may well be just as good a result. As Colley takes a secondary corner for Bayswater, it's deep to the back post. Tong heads across goal, and it's cleared away by Ambrosio. Apologies, it was Petkov that cleared away, and Ambrosio was racing after the ball, and Tong, another wily defender at Bayswater, was there to tidy things up, but just a few signals that Bayswater are looking to come to life a little bit here, Louis.
Yeah, that back post header there from Tong, who's always going to be a threat on set pieces, just sort of created a bit of a question mark for Floreat to deal with.
Smith's turn, was trying to get the better of Madashi, but couldn't do so. 2 experienced players there, and now Evans was ankle tapped by Colley, and a little...
Just a wry smile there for
yeah.
Giordano Colley.
Yeah. I'm not sure Evans was too impressed, though. I don't think he saw the funny side. 6 fouls to 4 so far, but it's not really been that sort of game.
I said, I think just both sides looking to feel each other out and not make a mistake in these opening 20 minutes.
Petkov plays through for Ambrosio, and now Moulton's in a little bit of space on the left. Cross takes the deflection, and Spence will claim at the second attempt. So we've passed the halfway point in the first half, Louis. Both teams feeling themselves out, as you say. And I have to say that the crowd at Dorrien Gardens this afternoon's been fantastic. You'll see behind you where Pearson is receiving the ball now that's an overflow car park near where the Italian club is, and I must admit I struggled to get a parking spot there, which is quite an unusual thing, as there's plenty of parking around the ground, so you can tell there's a big crowd in here, and they're up for this heavyweight clash between two sides who really are making marks in season 2019. And as I've said before, they've already played in a final against each other in the night series, and you wouldn't put it against either of these two to meet again in the top 4 cup in September.
Yeah, Bayswater having a more of a topsy-turvy start to the season in the league, but they've hit form recently.
Evans ball forward finds Boy in space, and he's looking for Petkov again, but Hesketh is under that, and he hoists that into the air. Moulton wins that in the air, and it drops down to the feet of Evans, and nice football by Floreat trying to carve through an opening. Petkov's really that focal point in Floreat's attack, but they've not quite found that final ball of quality yet for him.
Well, it's just difficult to break down. You saw when that ball came through, the back 4 of Bayswater was so compact, and that will be a deliberate tactic from Chris Coyne not to leave any space or any gaps for Floreat to exploit.
Hesketh back to Kay. 1 goal this season for Trent Kay. It was against Balcatta in a 2-1 reversal earlier in the season. As Millard's ball forward looking for Mirko, runs out and into touch, and that'll be a Floreat throw-in. Josh Manella not happy that Chris Saldaros was trying to steal a few metres there, and points him back down the line. 1 win in their first 5 league games this season, Floreat, but 6 wins in 7 propelled their campaign. A surprise defeat to Stirling was their only real blemish before heavy defeats against Bayswater and Inglewood with understrength sides over that fortnightly period. They had a little spell with injuries, and they're just starting to get that continuity back, and they've settled the last fortnight with 2 wins and 2 clean sheets. But it's Bayswater who are on the attack, and Millard's got plenty of space on this left-hand side. Bodies in the middle, cleared by Gallen, and hit by Colley. Twists inside, then he strikes. Finds Millard again. Gallen's got to be quick, and he is. Millard gets possession back. And Bayswater switch to the other side as Tong's cross looks deep for Smith again, and Gallen heads away. Petkov needs to really hold this up, and in the end the touch comes off Colley and breaks the way of Arnold. Come to you in a second for your thoughts on that passage of play, Louis, but in the meantime Petkov breaks forward, and he's got Boy in plenty of space on this left-hand side. Boy cuts inside and strikes. Deflected off Kay, and then the subsequent ball forward goes out and into touch, so a little bit of action at both ends there, Louis.
Yeah, it's probably the most end-to-end spell we've had so far. Bayswater there with a good slice of possession and looking to pin Floreat back, but they couldn't quite muster a chance, and plenty of blocks going on early. As I mentioned, the centre-backs and the back 4 looking to stay really narrow and really compact.
As Evans looks to capitalise on a heavy touch from Colley. Sorry there, Louis. Pearson now playing forward, but intercepted by Moulton, who now looks forward for Boy, who's finding plenty of space on this left-hand side. He's one-on-one with Tong, and Tong gets in the way. Has that stayed in play off the corner flag? No, it hasn't. It's bounced off and gone out for a corner.
Yeah, just a bit of height difference between Tong and Boy there. And, yeah, Tong enjoying a few blocks early, looking to protect Spence in goal.
I know who I'd be betting on to win a header in the air. Boy's got his own advantage at ground level, though, potentially.
Yeah, Tong not the quickest defender, not the quickest centre-back, but the first 5 yards that he, decides to go in his head, he's got great positioning.
Yeah, really good, consistent performer over the years, Tong. So here's a corner for Floreat. It'll be Evans that whips it in. It's towards the penalty spot. Fuller was arriving, and it ran all the way through.
Tell you what, Chris Coyne will be not happy with the ball bouncing that close to goal off a set piece.
Well, it looked for all money that Fuller was going to get his head to that. It was a beautiful ball in from Evans as we watch this on the replay, and Fuller perhaps just maybe got a little bit of body given to him by a Bayswater defender, and that may have just been enough to put off his run. A few more chances in recent minutes. Game perhaps starting to opening up a little bit after an earlier phase where both teams were just feeling each other out, as Saudaris puts that into touch, not taking any chances. Hesketh and Mirko not on that same wavelength, and that'll go out for a Floreat restart. So just to come back to Bayswater, they were on a run of 1 defeat in 6 matches, but that was broken by Balcatta in a game that I did actually, and that was a tremendous effort by Balcatta's youngsters to win on that day. And they were in pretty good form in that time, scoring plenty of goals, and thankfully for Bayswater fans, that was a minor blemish. They were back to winning ways with a 3-0 win at Armidale before a very credible point at this ground last week against Perth. Gustavo Cataccioni scored in the 91st minute, and I think I actually called on the commentary that was the winner, but far be it for me to jump the gun early as Tong popped up for a 93rd minute leveller. And we've all done that before, Louis. Got a little bit ahead of ourselves in the commentary booth.
Oh, of course. You just would have thought that would have been the goal to separate both sides, and you know, Perth SC such a well-oiled machine, but Tong with a late goal there to earn a point for Bayswater.
Yeah, the league leaders, Perth, 8 points clear at the top, but eliminated by Bayswater in the FFA Cup in round 6.
For me, that's one of the results of the season. We hadn't seen Perth lose in the league, and to see them go down to Bayswater 3-2, it was a great result for Chris Coyne's side.
Yeah, I agree, Louis. One of the games of the season, definitely, as Smith's a willing chaser forward, and Madashi showed plenty of experience there to make sure Smith wasn't getting anywhere near that. As we see on the replay,
he's got his body across and was happy to go down.
Felt the contact and won the free kick. Adrian Madashi, who, as we said before, very experienced, played for the Newcastle Jets in the A-League and was also a 5-time Socceroo and an Oceania Nations Cup winner. It's been a while since Australia and the Socceroos were in Oceania, but that's how experienced Madashi is, and here he is again putting into touch, losing his footing on the slippery turf as he did so. Ball comes back into play, and now here's Nickel with a chance to run. It's headed away by Gallen. Griffiths look to feel for contact, and Bayswater win the free kick.
I think he just gave the referee a decision to make by going down.
Contact came there from Fuller, and Griffiths, with his back to goal, made sure that he won the set piece to keep Bayswater on the front foot, where they have been for the past 5 minutes or so. Tong's ball forwards looking for Pearson, who will be able to put a cross in, and Saudaris is there together. Smith and Mirko were in the area looking dangerous, and a good contest from both players there.
Well, Saudaris twice in the night series final went down for extended periods of time after heavy contact. As Floreat get things underway here.
Turnover from Tong, lands at the feet of Petkov, and he finds Boy. He's got Evans running outside of him. Boy will come inside and hit it. And he just leant back on that one, and that went into the netting behind the goal near the apartments, where we do have a couple of fans up on the balcony tuning in. It's always a handy spot to have, a nice vantage point if you want to watch some football on a Saturday afternoon. Louis, as many have done today, always a great occasion, the Belt Up State Cup final.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being perched up there from a tactical perspective. You'll be able to see the shape of the teams really well up there. But us down in the gantry, another great position.
Nickel comes forward here on this right-hand side. He's got Millard arriving on the edge of the area, and the last touch came off a Floreat player. Josh Manella signalled for a goal kick there initially, and it threw me off for a minute.
Like
as we see those fans up there watching.
Like I said before, I'm just fascinated with which winger plays on which side for Bayswater. Nickel making his name as a right winger, but just earlier on in the season, Mirko's just such a natural right winger himself. So sometimes playing at right back as well, that could be an option if Chris Coyne wants to shuffle the pack.
Perhaps trying to expose a matchup, maybe something that Chris Coyne's thought about, as Colley sticks one hand up this time and puts the ball in. Tong is arriving. Kay got his head to it, and Saudaris scrapped it away. Ambrosio and Boy link up, not once, but twice, but Millard's there to cut it out, and it's in touch for a throw. Fuller. And now Madashi. Last season's Cup winners were Armadale with a 2-0 win over Guelph, Croatia, and the year before the Western Knights triumphed over Sorrento as Saudaris' cross took a deflection and cleared away by Bayswater. Fuller makes sure that Floreat can try and keep possession until a big launch downfield by Madashi, and now Millard's ball is searching for Smith, who just lost his footing there as Gallen cut across. Cool play from Saudaris and
even cooler from Gallen.
Exactly right. Calm nerves from Floreat's back four there. Nichols slides in on Moulton, and that should stay in play for Pearson. 36 minutes on the clock. Bayswater City 0, Floreat Athena 0. Yet to see a goal between these two sides who have both scored in all three games, or all three meetings this season. Obviously, when there's silverware on the line, though, it can be a little more cagey, and both teams not willing to risk making an error.
Well, we won't see the likes of Jack Allen coming on the pitch. He was the one who hit that glorious equaliser in the night series final. He was ruled out in the warm-up, so Bayswater are going to have to find another goal scorer, but he'll be a big miss, no doubt.
And who was named in Allen's place?
It was Rindell, who's going to come into the lineup here, so hopefully for his sake he can come on and have an impact, but the class of Jack Allen would be a big miss.
Yeah, former Floreat player as well, of course, Jack Allen, and that's some late team news that ran up to us. A change on the bench before kickoff. Jack Allen, of course, scoring that absolute blockbuster. As Louis touched on before, a very good player in that midfield area for Bayswater, but they found one in Colley, as we touched on before, as Petkov is released down the left, and once again Tong is doing the one-on-one defending. Searching for Evans on the edge of the area, but the last touch came off Tong, and that will be a Floreat Athena set piece.
Haven't really seen Evans's best set pieces so far, so Garrett McDouling will be hoping for something a bit better.
Evans will be hoping to put one in a similar spot to where Fuller just missed that chance before. Tall timber forward again. Into the near post this time, and Mirko should be able to clear, and now Nickel will try and break away with his pace. And Madashi in good position there to track back and cut that one out. Battle for possession between Fuller and Pearson on that far side. Tong cutting out. Fuller again. Finds Boy in space. Into the feet of Petkov, who turns and strikes.
Oh.
And that's just wide of the post from Petkov, his first real chance that he's seen. Talk us through this, Louis.
He just is back to goal here, and just a turn and a snapshot really from Rob Petkov. He's no hesitation there, and great confidence from the striker to take that one early.
A real instinctive effort, that one there from Petkov. Usually when you've got a nose for goal like he does, you'd perhaps hope to hit the target in that situation. As Pearson goes one more on for Nickel, whose cross into the area took a deflection before it was gathered by Saldaris. Brother of Chris, of course, who should receive the ball here from Gallen. Saldaris' ball forward for Petkov. Getting plenty of attention from Kay and expertly defended by the skipper, who won the player or the man of the match award last week in the Birighitti Cup. Match between Perth and Bayswater. And playing short here. Poor pass out of defence though, and it gives Fuller a sniff, and he does well to come away. Fuller's hit, and I think he may have hoped to hit the target there again, Louis. Another good opening for Floreat, and Bayswater just caught in possession out back.
Just a rare misplaced pass from Kay. He's normally such an assured player with the ball at his feet and just a model pro, but as we said, a bit of a collector's item there, and Jesse Fuller was eager to try and make something of that, but just dragged his shot wide.
I don't think Fuller realised he had more time than he actually did. As Nickel breezes past Moulton, and he's going to go into the book.
Yeah, referee just getting his card out early.
Yeah, clear pull of the shirt there from Ryan Moulton. He becomes a second player to go into the referee's notebook this afternoon after Gordon Smith. So one each in the book. And with 3.5 minutes to go before the interval, we are given another opportunity to Bayswater to try and score a breakthrough goal. Colley's ball in. Tong jumped. The header was strong from Madashi, who's been fearless back there so far. Pearson one-on-one with Evans, but Floreat skipper does well to snuff out that danger. Now here's Boy looking to break away from Mirko, and he does really well there, Ludo. Boy, Ambrogio's offside, though he went just a little early there, as Bayswater really did well to hold their line.
Yeah, great line there for the boys in blue and black. Pretty easy decision even from up here. Nick Ambrosio there, though, just with one of his trademark runs from midfield. He's got a few goals in recent times since taking that number 10 jersey. He's recently been given it with the departure of, who was it who left? Over East.
Calvin Whitney.
That's right, Calvin Whitney. He left over East, and since donning that number 10 jersey, he's been amongst the goals. So he'll be hoping to get on the score sheet today, the midfielder.
Here's Smith, clipped by the man you were talking about just before, Louis. And now this is another decent spot for Bayswater here. It's a little closer to goal, but maybe slightly too far out for a shot. Trent Kay giving Colley a little bit of advice as to where he wants it putting. All the tall timber forward, Griffiths, Kay, Tong, Smith, all in the area. Hesketh too. It's Colley's ball. It's headed away by Saldaris. That was at the back post. Sorry, my view was checked. Ball back in by Pearson. It'll run through to Mirko, who strikes and deflected off Madashi and away for another Bayswater corner.
Good spell of this for Chris Coyne's side. 2 chances on goal.
Bayswater looking to break through before the break. They've got a minute to do so. As we see on the replay, Mirko, ball broke to him nicely in the area. A nice turn and shot, and I think that would have been on target. It's Collie again, floated to the penalty spot, headed away by Madashi. Where will this break? It's away by Fuller. Wayne's a touch for a throw. You just get the feeling that Floreat are pegged back at the moment and maybe hopeful that the half-time whistle will come.
Yeah, if they can get into the break at 0-0, I think Garrett McDouling will probably be the happier of the two managers.
Bayswater turning the screw. Winners most recently in 2014. Floreat winning most recently in 2016. As 2 minutes of additional time are showed by the fourth official, and here's Evans at the other end. He comes inside, looking for the support.
It goes down.
And I think Griffith's got a toe to the ball. Referee saw it that way too. Nickel now has Mirko, and Mirko's got plenty of space to turn into, and he's running into the half, and he just checked on the ball. He did find Smith though out wide, and Smith comes inside. He strikes on his left foot, and it's not caught anywhere near as well as he would have liked it, but it did take a touch on the way through, and there will be a chance for Bayswater to put a ball in the middle before the break.
Yeah, just cut in on into his non-preferred left-hand side there. A willing runner. He'll sometimes work the channels, will Gordon Smith, and he just found himself into a wide area there, and he's a player who's not afraid to pull the trigger.
So Giordano Colley's taken plenty of these in this first half. This one's a little different. It goes to the near post, and Evans got a foot in. Ball will be recycled to Colley. It's in the middle. Nichols in space. And it drifted just wide of the post. Everybody froze for a minute, Saudaris included.
Perhaps he just cut across the ball there. Just a bit more of a sliced effort. It was quite a high, hopeful ball from Nickel. And a player of great technique, he would have hoped for more solid contact, but it could have gone anywhere.
A bit of a cross shot there from Daryl Nickel. He had plenty of space in the area to get his head over the ball, and in the end it drifted just wide of the upright, and it's almost as close as Bayswater have come in this first half. As the seconds tick down towards the break. Time for one more attack though. As Nickel finds space on the right, it takes a touch off Moulton this time. And this is a relentless phase of set pieces for Bayswater. They'll have time to take one more though, I think, Louis. Where's this one going?
Well, his last one was a driven low ball, something they obviously worked on but wasn't the best. So I think this will be floated, a bit less pace on it, but just in the mixer, mate.
Get it in the mixer. 2 minutes played in first half stoppage time. It's Colley's ball. Tong wins it in the air. It's hooked away by Saudaris. And Josh Manella blows the whistle before Colley can put a secondary ball into the area. So a pretty cagey opening from both teams. Robert Petkov with the best chance for Floreat in that first half with a snapshot from 18 yards out. Jesse Fuller nearly getting on the ends of a Dean Evans corner as well. And then Bayswater started to turn the screw in the minutes leading towards half-time. Daryl Nickel with a shot that was deflected off Madashi and over the bar before a close call in the minutes leading to the break when Mirko's shot was blocked, but plenty to play for in the second half. Half-time here at Dorrien Gardens. Bayswater City 0, Floreat Athena 0. We'll be back with the second half shortly. Do join us.
going so far?
It's been an absolute cracker, and it's pretty lucky that the rain has held off for the last little bit.
Especially that it's held out for us as well. So, as you may know, Kane Blackman is a Commission Secretary from the Insurance Commission WA, proud sponsor of the Belts Up campaign. So look, tell us about the partnership that you have with Football West.
So this is the second year of the partnership. You'll notice these red banners around the field and the Belt Up balls being played today. It's a simple message. It's about wearing a seatbelt on the road. Unfortunately, every year about 70 people die or are seriously injured because they're not wearing seatbelts. And it's tragic that this still happens in this day and age. And this message is about wearing a seatbelt when you're out on the road, when you leave the game today, and hopefully that can save you from serious injuries in a car crash.
Look, and tell us why you've partnered with Football West and football in WA.
Well, football is the fifth code that we've partnered with. We're also with rugby and netball and football, and we're looking at another one at the moment. It's a great game. It's an international game. It's a very diverse community. It's spread throughout the regions in the country and also in metro areas. And for us, it's just a really great grassroots culture, and it gives us an opportunity to literally put the Belt Up message on the feet of the players and the community.
Speaking of football, of course, we had Manchester United here this weekend. Did you get a chance to go out and see the Red Devils?
No, I'm a City fan, so I stayed clear of that game. But hopefully the City comes out, or my second favourite side, Crystal Palace, comes out next year.
Well, I'm a Liverpool fan, and I wasn't part of the campaign to have that plane fly over, but I was there, absolutely delighted with it as well. Look, you mentioned the Belt Up campaign. So in terms of drivers, who's most at risk in terms of individuals who are being that part of that 70 people?
It's actually the players you see on the field today. That demographic, young males and also males in country areas. It's the demographic that we see most in our insurance claims, and it's why that we do target sports like football. So the 15 to mid-30s age group is the one we see most in our claims, and by wearing a seatbelt, not only do you save yourself from worsened injuries, you also save the Insurance Commission millions of dollars that we pay out in claims cost every year, which has the added benefit for motorists for keeping insurance premiums more affordable.
Well, that's fantastic. So that's not only saving lives, but also saving money in the back end as well.
Absolutely.
Look, in terms of what we can all do, what can we all do, everybody, each individual that's here to improve our safety on the roads?
Exactly what the message says, belt up. When you go home today, put your seatbelt on, make sure everyone else in the car has their seatbelt on. There are no excuses in this day and age not to wear a seatbelt, so please belt up.
Kane, thank you so very much. We hope you enjoyed the day. How did your team go yesterday?
Bombers is my football team. We had a win, and I'm still waiting for the EPL season to start for my other teams.
Kane, thank you so very much, mate. You take care.
Thank you very much.
You just decided right there on the spot?
Just decided on the spot, yeah.
Fair play. And your name, mate?
Donga.
Donga, is that your real name, Donga?
Yeah.
And what's your last name, Donga?
Bell.
Donga Bell. Look, I'm not saying that my name's Kalichio, so it's absolutely fair enough, mate. All right, and who do you support tonight?
Joondalup United.
They're not playing.
Still go for them.
All right, so we all get 3 shots each, round 1. Donga, you can go first.
Well, that's not bad, is that?
No. There's no need for that. And next up. High. Oh! That's 1-0.
Yeah, we'll give that. Let's give it a little clip. That's got it too.
No nick there. Ronald too high.
This is Ronald or something. Ronald.
He's going to hit 3 from 3, I reckon. He's scored it.
Oh, just short there, Ronald. Donga, come on, last chance, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh! Sweet as a nut.
Well done.
Oh, just short. For the win. Go lefty.
Not going to clip. He caught it.
That's it. We've got 2 winners.
That's it. We've got 2 winners. Congratulations to...
That's Donga. Donga.
That clearly isn't your real name. And Ronald. Ronald, congratulations. So what did these guys win?
$200 Rebel Sports.
$200. Can I have a go, mate? $200 Rebel Sports vouchers. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Can't go wrong.
Cheers.
Give me, for God's sakes, give me a go.
Oh, hammy.
Oh no.
Oh no.
We didn't get any stretches. Watch out with those jeans, mate. You might tear 'em.
Oh, it's not bad.
Sure. There we go.
These boots, they're not on these, mate. Look at the state of them.
It's the shoes. Look at the
purchase a ticket in the Hyundai Community Raffle near the main entrance for your chance to win a Hyundai Santa Fe Active. Remember, all proceeds go directly back to the clubs. Thanks once again to our sponsors, the Insurance Commission of WA, promoting the Belts Up message. We're a seatbelt. Belts up, belts up. We don't want you to be cutting another statistics on our road. Let's also welcome back the players onto the field. We've got Bayswater City in blue, of course, and Floreat Athena in white.
Welcome back to Dorrien Gardens for the second half of the Belt Up State Cup final between Bayswater City and Floreat Athena. Nothing to separate these two teams in the first half. Chances at a premium at both ends really, but Robert Petkov having the best chance for Floreat in that half, and Daryl Nicol at the other end causing the most lively moments for Bayswater as well. As far as I can see at the moment, no changes made by either teams. Perhaps keeping a little bit in reserve with how tight this game has been so far. We may well be going the distance here. Of course, both of these teams will be hoping to find a winner in 90 minutes in front of a healthy crowd here at Dorrien Gardens. Bayswater will get us underway for the second half. And we're live on the Football West Facebook page and YouTube channel. Rain has thankfully subsided here, and we should get some dry conditions for the moment looking at the overheads. So an evenly poised first half here, Louis. What needs to change in the second half for this to open up?
Oh, we'll just let you get
we'll just
attack.
We'll just cut across to Nicol first, who's one-on-one with, in fact it was Smith who was one-on-one with Gallen, and the ball ricocheted off the Floreat defender last. We'll come to you in a moment, Louis. We're just going to see how this unfolds for Bayswater as Millard takes the throw. Mirko Zayoff was a little heavy and it breaks back to Floreat. Ball forward here looking for Petkov, one in the air by Hesketh, and Petkov there conceding the free kick with Hesketh still down on his haunches. So what needs to change for this game to open up in the second half, Louis?
I think the pattern of play we saw in the first half was a lot of sustained set-piece pressure from Bayswater, and Floreat looking to hit them on the break, but you know, both sides are just not really willing to give the opposition an inch. So I would say both sides need to commit more numbers forwards. Perhaps the fullbacks need to get a bit more involved, because right now those back four, when both teams aren't in possession, are just staying very compact and very tight. So I'd love to see either fullback from each team just get forward and create a bit more numbers and more of an open game.
Chance down this right-hand side for Bayswater as Pearson looks to link up with Daryl Nicol, and now Nicol in the area. Madashi gets a good foot in and looks for a teammate upfield, but Millard is aware and alert to the danger. 2 games earlier, of course, the under-18s Cup final was won by Bayswater, 4-3 on penalties after a 2-2 draw, and then Perth Glory winning 3-1 over Coburn. Louis, who's alongside me, called both of those games, and we'll come to him for a quick comment on those. But in the meantime, Pearson looks forward. Madashi loses his footing, shouts for handball. Pearson tried to nip in again, but away come Floreat now, looking to launch a first counter of the half, and that's a brilliant ball from Boy, who's got Arnold running on the right-hand side of the area. Support arriving from Petkov, and Moulton at the back post. It runs all the way through. Moulton just taking his eye off the ball as Tong looked to jump for possession.
Ooh, Tong had a vital touch there. I think it just nicked his boot, and that's what put the winger off.
Yeah, you're right. I think he did just enough there to get in the way. No foul on Griffiths. Bayswater keep possession earlier, as Hesketh this time looks for the run of Smith. Mirko. Nice touch on for Pearson, who's got Nickel out wide and looking forward for a target in the middle, who is Mirko. And now Boy finds Fuller. It's nice tempo to the start of this second half. Game is just showing a little more intent than it did in the early stages of the first half.
Well, just to go back to your point of the earlier games, the Under-18s Cup final, Bayswater coming ahead on penalties there as we see the offside flag raised. Bayswater came through 4-3 on penalties. It was 2-2, and it was against Sorrento, an absolutely thrilling game. You had Swan at one end for Sorrento scoring the 2 goals, and Mackenzie at the other for Bayswater. The second in particular, a glorious strike, and that really set the tone for the afternoon. The 3-1 result from Perth Glory, perhaps a bit more conclusive, but a great day of football at Dorrien Gardens.
As Nickel skips away from Moulton here, and Moulton gets a toe to it, but Nickel's still
goes
going.
Down.
And Josh Manella blows his whistle.
Penalty.
Penalty awarded. Josh Manella points to the spot. And there's no real complaints from Adrian Madashi, who's still sat on the ground. I think Nickel was a little too quick for him. Is that a penalty, Louis?
I think so. I think he's just such a quick and tricky customer, Daryl Nickel. And Madashi, we've mentioned it, an experienced player, but he's not the quickest over the first 5 yards, and I think that's a good decision from the referee.
So Nickel, who's been the source of most of Bayswater's joy throughout this game, will step up to the penalty spot. Bayswater's leading marksman. 15 goals in total this season in League and Cup. And Saudaris stands in his way. It's Nickel to step up, and Nickel finds the bottom corner. 5 FFA Cup goals this season for Daryl Nickel. And a crucial one that gives Bayswater the lead. It's Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 0 at Dorrien Gardens. 5 minutes into the second half, Louis.
Well, they make the breakthrough, and the man who created the penalty, Daryl Nickel, steps up and scores it. He's got great composure, great courage, always looking to add to that goal-scoring record that he has so far. Soldaris went the right way, but unfortunately for him, it just crept underneath the Floreat goalkeeper, and if there was one man to settle this game, it would probably be Daryl Nickel, but we've got plenty of football to play. Bayswater lead.
Just showing replays of the penalty there, and Nickel placed it underneath Saudaris. The goalkeeper did guess the right way there, I think, but Nickel with a placement that was just out of Saudaris' reach. And that's a 16th goal in all competitions for Daryl Nickel this season. He's been a raging success story since his move from ECU Joondalup in the off-season. He's actually scored in every round of this competition to date, with the exception of the round 7 game against Rockingham, where Gordon Smith got the decisive goal. But Bayswater's main man does it again, and now there's work for Floreat to do. Breakthrough goal for Bayswater, and they lead by a goal to 0 as Madashi looks forward for Petkov. Flick on. He's aiming for Ambrosio, but the flag's up on the far side. Ambrosio may have been caught there in that contest for the ball, and it mattered little because a linesman had his flag up on that far side as we see the replays once again of Nickel's penalty.
You just see the frustration on Soldaris' face. He's so close to keeping that one out, but it just crept under the arm, and I think that's what the game needed perhaps. Bayswater just edging this one out in the first half. So on form, perhaps they deserve the 1-0 lead, but for the neutral, hopefully it means that Floreat will come out here and we'll have more of an open contest.
Yeah, game might open up a little bit now that Floreat are in need of a goal, but they've got Bayswater's attack to worry about first as Smith loses footing in the area and Madashi clears away. Evans now linking up with Boy. Can Floreat reply quickly? Daryl Nickel scoring the breakthrough goal in the 50th minute, 5 minutes into the second half, as the ball here is played through for Petkov, and I think he tried to find Ambrosio with the return, but I think that might have taken a touch off Hesketh on the way through, and Spence was able to gather calmly.
I think it'd be a very difficult decision to call that one a back pass.
Colley cut out by Fuller, who's been pretty good today in that holding midfield role. Will maybe feel as if he should have hit the target from outside the area in plenty of space in the first half. Floreat just looking to build a little bit of possession. Fuller beats Colley to the ball, and the pass takes a deflection through. Tong's got plenty of time to mop up though. Boy pressuring Spence, but that's long and downfield from the goalkeeper. Good sliding challenge there from Gallen, clearly winning the ball off Jason Mirko. And now Arnold, clip ball through, looking for Ambrosio, but that just zips off the turf and away into the grateful arms of Spence once more. As we touched down earlier in the broadcast, Floreat with several young options on the bench to add a little bit of pace and reinvigorate that forward third perhaps as the game goes on.
Yeah, the likes of Painter Andrews and maybe Fester look to get on the pitch here and have an impact.
As Mirko looks to jink his way through, and he nearly does so. Gallen was the last line and he found Evans with the ball. And now Arnold, another experienced member of this Floreat Athena team. Floreat, of course, triumphing 6-5 on a penalty shootout earlier in the season in the night series final when these two teams meet. So Bayswater will be eyeing off revenge. They've still got 36 minutes to defend though, as Evans' ball forward's looking for Ambrosio. He'll get on the end of this, and he's stood up by Kay. Ball back to the skipper Evans, who comes inside. He has Fuller on the edge of the area, and along once more to Arnold. Moulton is wider, but he comes inside to Boy, and now Moulton will receive possession. Boy, crossing the middle, Spence comes and punches. Ball will break to Evans, who comes inside and hits on the left. Beaten away by Spence. Is Saldaris onside? He is. It comes back in and it's cleared away by Hesketh. Dean Evans forcing Devon Spence into a little bit of action there, stinging the palms of Bayswater's custodian. And we know he's capable from that range, Louis.
He certainly is. It fell to his left foot. He's more accustomed to taking shots on his right, but...
Forward again comes Saldaris, who finds Ambrosio in the area. He goes down, shouts for a penalty, nothing given.
I think there was contact on Ambrosio, but whether it was enough to make him go down, that's the question.
It'd be interesting to see a replay of that one. It was a half appeal, really, but Bayswater will look to make the most of that moment and come forward through Mirko, who finds the feet of Smith. Boy does well to get his body in between the ball and Smith, and Bayswater will get possession back. Pearson, lovely touch to find Nickel. Ball into the middle. It's Mirko at the back post, and he headed it into the ground.
Such a shame. Great play from Bayswater there. Just one-touch football on this right-hand channel, but just lacked that cutting edge at the end.
Golden chance for Jason Mirko to double Bayswater's lead. He made the running at the back post. It was a lovely touch through from Pearson, and the delivery was on point from Nickel. And Mirko just headed that into the ground, and it bounced over the crossbar.
That would have been a goal fitting for a cup final. Great play from Bayswater.
Yeah, lovely football down this right-hand side. And as we've said on a couple of occasions this afternoon, the lively moments are coming from Daryl Nickel. Madashi spoons that one up in the air. Moulton chests it away. Griffiths goes to ground, and Ambrosio picks his pocket. Ball forward here is looking for Phil Arnold. He'll get there first and look to pull back for Evans, who'll hit it. Tong half gets it away, and Hesketh makes sure it's not going anywhere near the goal for the moment.
Just nervy moments there.
Once again, that crossfield release pass was effective for Floreat, as Moulton's ball is deep, but no one's on the same wavelength, and Spence will gather and just say, let's settle things down. Clearance upfield and headed away by Moulton. Ryan Moulton, who started in Floreat's first 3 games in 2019 and has made 9 appearances overall. He is back in the team in the last fortnight after missing the 2 defeats to Inglewood United and this opposition, Bayswater. And I should also add that Nichols' goal was his 5th in 3 games against Floreat this season, so he really does enjoy playing against Athena. Braces in both league clashes this season. As Evans intercepts here, and Petkov will look to clip back through for Evans. It's headed away by Kay, and Collie should mop up. He's under a bit of pressure from Petkov now. Poor pass. Shouldn't amount to anything though, as Tong will let that one drift out, and Adam Tong's got a long throw, so we'll possibly see this one launched straight down the line, Louis.
Well, Floreat did have a chance to go forward there, and you saw neither of their fullbacks pushing on. They are a goal down, and I know it's a cup final, but a few of the players forward for Athena are a bit isolated when they go forward, and I'd love to see some, attacking width from those defenders. But, it's just how much Garrett McDouling will want to risk in this cup final. The longer it stays at 1-0, maybe he feels that he can nick something in the last 10 minutes. But right now, Floreat having a good spell, but I think they need to do a bit more to get back into this one.
They're having a little bit of joy in that 35 to 40 yard area at the moment, Floreat. They're playing a couple of nice little crossfield balls, but it's when they get to that 20 to 25 yard area just outside the box that the final ball is perhaps lacking, as Smith tries to feed Mirko with a nicely weighted ball, but it was cut out by Gallen. Focus needed by Floreat's back 4. An hour into this Belt-Up State Cup final here at Dorrien Gardens. Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 0. Daryl Nichols' spot kick. The difference between the sides. MPLWA taking a break this week. So thank you for joining us on the Football West Facebook page or YouTube channel, wherever you may be watching us. A terrific crowd in the house here. And these two teams determined to put a piece of silverware in the trophy cabinet. Here come Floreat as Saldaris' ball is miscued and goes out for a goal kick. Of course, plenty of football still to come in the month of July. It's always a busy period with the FFA Cup round of 32 starting, and most of the MPLWA teams taking a break with 6 games to play in this season. And both of these two teams in the top 4 at the moment, and will be hoping to play a part in the end of season top 4 cup. Perth Soccer Club currently 8 points clear at the top and are looking good to at least win the premiership. And of course the FFA Cup on Fox Sports during the week. You'll be able to watch both of these two teams in action against MPL opposition away from home. Floreat playing in Adelaide and Bayswater playing in Brisbane, both against an Olympic. Adelaide Olympic and Olympic FC of Brisbane. And of course these two have played in the FFA Cup as well over the years at the round of 32 stage. Melbourne City played Floreat Athena here back in 2016, where the A-League side won 2-1. And Chris Gate scored an equalising goal for Floreat, which was a real scare for Melbourne City earlier into their season. And Bayswater City also gave Melbourne Victory a good game with a 2-0 win. That game was played at Stirling's home ground, I recall. I don't think Bayswater had the floodlights on at that time, with many of those games in the Cup being played in the evenings, as you can see on your screen. The crowd are still here and enjoying their afternoon at Dorrien Gardens.
As you've spoken about their cup fixtures, we have entered in a bit of a lull here as Bayswater are trying to consolidate this lead. But I think Floreat again are going to have to throw more men forward as the man known as Gogsy just turns that one over.
Yeah, you just get the feeling there's a slight lull at the moment, but here comes Floreat looking to respond as Petkov finds Arnold. And now Boy. Can Athena build something here? Fuller's looking for an option to pass to. He's got Saldaris wide on that right-hand touchline, and he'll use him now. Ambrosio knows this ground well, having played for Perth, of course. Petkov looks to return for Ambrosio. Takes a touch or two, and Tong says, get that out of here. He'll probably come back, though, if Moulton can keep this alive. He does. In fact, he has to retreat all the way back to Madashi. And in turn to Dennis Gallen, who started the last 5 games in the NPL and won the State Cup with Stirling back in 2010. Looking to add another medal to his collection, of course. Moulton with another one of those clipped balls forward, and Hesketh did just enough to get a header on that one.
It was just another run, a trademark run from Ambrosio. As we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he loves a run from midfield and is capable of contributing on the goal score sheet, but didn't quite get on the end of it there.
Gallen got a touch on that one as Millard tried to get the better of him on that left-hand side. I wonder what Garrett McDooling's thinking on your screens at the moment. He's got a few young players on the bench to turn to if he wants to. He looks quite content to see how this one's playing out so far. They've got 25 minutes to find an equaliser and keep their hopes of winning the State Cup final alive for a second time in 4 years. I was at that game against Coburn where they won 1-0. John Steins with a 90th minute winner on that day. As Smith comes inside, he's got Colley running alongside him. The shot came in instead, and I think the better option there was to lay it into the feet of Colley, Louis.
Yeah, but maybe he was using him as a bit of a decoy run just to open up some space, but in hindsight, it did look like Colley was the better option, as you say.
Floreat counter now as Boy looks to find Petkov. Boy gets the return ball back. Still going Ludo Boy, tees up for Evans. And now Arnold in the area. Clipped to the back post, headed away by Kay. Evans will try and keep possession. It's touched back to Fuller. And now Saldaris' pocket is picked by Mirko, and he can look to gain ground up the field. He's got Smith in support in the middle, and Nickel arrives now, but Mirko perhaps sensibly turns back and waits for the cavalry to arrive. And then the switch of play, looking for the run of Pearson, was a little overhit and disappointing, and Floreat will get possession back. Bayswater's substitutes warming up on screen. Todd Howarth and Gustavo Marilander among those names. Plenty of experience there if Bayswater do elect to bring on some experience to close out the game, as Petkov can't quite get on the end of that. So 2/3 of this game, or 3/4 of this game played, Louis, and we're still at Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 0. Who's going to blink first here? What do Floreat need to do to equalise here? As Nickel, I apologise, clips through for Smith. And now Pearson. Patient play from the former Sorrento fullback. And now Colley, Nickel, Mirko. Gallen should cut that one out. And we'll just wait for this counter-attack to unfold before we come back to you, Louis, as Gallen's got plenty of room to run forward, and that's a lovely ball here to find Arnold. He's only got Petkov in the middle for the moment. He'll try and get the better of Tong, but Arnold will get possession back. Arm out from Tong, shouts for a penalty. The crowd was certainly shouting anyway. None of the players really did. As Fuller wings possession back from Nickel and lays into the feet of Evans. Toe in from Hesketh. Gallen into Petkov. And now Arnold. Patient play from Floreat. Clip ball from Ambrosio. Shouts for a penalty and another one's given.
Well, it was a ball forward. I think it was from Ambrosio. Just clipped the ball in towards the 18-yard box, towards Boy, and he goes down. And they might have been waving on a stretcher, but now they've decided not to. He's a bit worse for wear here, Ludovic Boy.
Well, Millard had his arms out there, and he was questioning the referee as to what that was awarded for. And we'll just have another look at this replay here. It was Arnold with a look-away ball to Ambrosio, who clipped another ball through. Boyd backed into Millard and looked to clash his head back on the former ECU Joondalup defender's chest. And, well, I can't decide whether that's a penalty or not, Louis, but
what's Millard supposed to do in that situation? It's just a difficult, I mean, it's a good ball over the top, but he's trying to put pressure on his man, and unfortunately he's just clipped him.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's been awarded, and Dennis Gallen, the central defender, will step up from the spot. Gallen versus Spence. And Gallen, as cool as it gets, dinks it down the middle. And a tale of two penalties here at Dorrien Gardens. It's Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 1. 20 minutes to play.
Well, what bottle, what cheek in the cup final. I think he's Panenka that right down the middle. And what an effort from Gallen there. Maybe a few eyebrows raised when the defender stepped up for the penalty, but what an effort that was.
It's a pretty handy time to score your first goal of the season in all competitions. And I'm not sure that anybody in the ground expected Gallen to step up and take it, but they've obviously been doing some work during the week, and Gallen kept his head. And much like the semi-final at ED Leiders Stadium, it's a tale of two penalties, with Daryl Nickel opening the scoring and Dennis Gallen levelling here. With 20 minutes to play, still no movement from either bench. As Nichols' ball into the area is cleared away by Madashi, and Fuller just gets that into touch. As we see that spot
Just
kick once again.
Audacious from Gallen, and shades of Ronaldo with the celebration, but what an effort it was.
Spence had committed low to his right. And my goodness, that's a coolly taken spot kick under massive amounts of pressure. As Floreat win a free kick deep in their half.
Yeah, Gordon Smith there just raising his arms. I think it was Moulton. But no card forthcoming. He's obviously on a booking already, so he's really got to watch himself, does Gordon Smith.
Yeah, needs to be careful, does Smith. He's in the book and he's had a couple of other fouls this afternoon. As Madashi beats the Scot to the ball. Arnold looks for Boy, but Tong slides in and makes sure the little winger can't nip in behind. Moulton lets that run out for a throw. This game has certainly come to life in this second half as Petkov approaches the area, and, well, he got the shot on target but didn't quite catch it, as well as he has done some other opportunities this season, and Spence in the end was able to gather that pretty comfortably.
Yeah, in the end, a tame effort, but great run from Petkov. The chance just opened up for him, and he elected to go for a bit of pace, but as I mentioned, a tame effort for Spence to deal with.
Whistle from Josh Manella. I'm not sure what that one was for. Maybe telling Bayswater to hurry up with the throw-in as Garrett McDouling has words with his assistant on the bench. How can they capitalise on that equalising goal from Dennis Gallen, and how can Bayswater turn the screw back in their favour? Oh, we'll find out in the final 16 or so minutes as Griffiths tries a speculative effort from distance, and there was a chance for somebody in the apartments behind to win themselves a football there.
Yeah, well, that's cleared the netting behind the goals. But yeah, one thing that's so interesting about this cup final, what have we played? Over 70 minutes and no substitutions so far. So neither manager really, they're just deciding whether to stick or twist. And you know, we've mentioned the youth of Floreat on the bench. Bayswater have some options as well, but both Chris Coyne and Garrett McDouling just opting for their starting 11s to get this job done.
I hope you've not got anywhere to be tonight, Louis, because we will have extra time and penalties if this does stay 1-1. As Tong spreads the play to Millard. Just over 15 minutes to play. Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 1. Dennis Gallen cancelling out Daryl Nichols' penalty. And here's Nickel now. Jinking his way into the area again, looks to stand one up. And in the end that drifts out for a goal kick. Mirko down behind play on the edge of the area.
Yeah, perhaps just copped one towards his head there, looking a bit ginger. But disappointing end product there from Nickel, who's been such a tricky customer to deal with. As we've mentioned, he drove infield for the penalty, won it himself, and then converted it just under the arms of Soldaris. But if his penalty was, a touch fortuitous, just getting under the arms of Soldaris, Gallen, on the other hand, just big cojones, as they say in Spanish, electing to go for a dink down the middle, and that's what levels this game at 1-1.
Daryl Nickel, of course, the gold medal and golden boot winner in season 2018, and moving to Bayswater in this off-season, and it looks like we'll see our first change of the afternoon, and it's going to be Jake Sardelich who's introduced for the final 15 minutes plus possible extra time. And it's Jason Mirko who will depart after taking that knock a moment ago. So a decent shift from Mirko, who's ran at the defenders often and has looked to stretch Floreat's defence, and a slightly different change on that left-hand side with a natural left footer going onto that far touchline. What impact do we see that having for Bayswater in these final 15 minutes?
Well, Sardelich often comes off the bench for Chris Coyne in all sorts of games, big games, mid-table games. So he certainly has the experience to make an impact and perhaps even put something on the score sheet here. But Mirko just not quite as comfortable on the left as he is at the right. But Daryl Nickel obviously scored the penalty to get things underway.
Good chance for Floreat to break forward here as Boy finds Petkov with plenty of space out wide. Support has arrived in the area, but Petkov possibly just dawdled on the ball for a little too long, and it gave Hesketh enough of a chance to come over and win the throw-in off Petkov. Just to touch on your point before, Louis, Jake Sardelich, substitute off the bench in the last 3 weeks for Chris Coyne's team, former Armidale player. And 1 goal this season in the 5-2 win against this former team. And I can see Gustavo Marilander also finishing his warm-ups and looking as if he's going to be introduced in the minutes to come. Another experienced option for the 2-time cup winners as play continues here with Boy, and he looks to clip a ball through for Evans, and Well, Spence was really good there in getting off his line and reading that, because Evans was in behind, he was onside, and if he'd got there first, you may have felt that he'd had scored.
Well, boy, they're just putting a tad too much on that ball through to Evans, and as you mentioned, he's a capable customer, the captain, so he probably would have worked the goalkeeper if it was just a little bit less on the pass there from Ludovic Boy.
Yeah, excellent keeping from Spence there, really alert and alive to the possibility that Evans was making that midfield run. As Fuller wins in the air and Arnold picks up on this left-hand side, you just get the feeling now that Floreat may have a chance to turn the screw a little bit, but as I say that, Arnold loses out and Pearson clears upfield. And a second substitution will be made. It's Floreat who'll make a change first, and it's going to be Thomas Jebb who's introduced for Ryan Moulton. And whilst we wait here, we will see a second change for Bayswater as well, as I expected we were going to, and it's going to be Gordon Smith who's on that caution, of course. And as you can hear on the PA in the background, Smith comes off and on comes Gustavo Marilander. So Tom Jebb, another player who knows this ground well, another ex-Perth player in Floreat's team. Jebb, who was at Forestfield United last season, he started the last 3 matches after a run out of the team, and meanwhile Bayswater introduced Marilander, who's back after an injury interrupted past season or 2.
Yeah, did his ACL, and obviously for the neutral and Bayswater in particular, we'd love to see him have an impact on this game. Such a crowd favourite, Marilander.
4-time Golden Boot winner, of course, Gustavo Marilander, and a real prominent player in Bayswater's championship winning eras. 3-time champion from 11 to 13. As Evans looks to poke through for Boy, and Pearson puts out for a corner.
Well, both changes are like for like. Smith, obviously he's a bit of a bigger frame than Marilander, but 2 out-and-out number 9s, and Jebb, capable of playing of left back, so not too much change in the shape or structure for either side. 1
NPL goal for Marilander. He'd like another one this afternoon, but it's Evans who puts the corner in. Spence will punch away, only as far as Boy, back in the area, and it's in by Phil Arnold.
Well, Arnold, he just stooped to conquer there, and it was a good punch from Spence earlier, but they didn't quite clear their lines, and he was jolly on the spot in the middle of the 6-yard box there to nod that one home.
Floreat Athena have turned it around here at Dorrien Gardens from 1-0 down to 2-1 up. It was Ludovic Boy who put the ball back in the area after Evans' corner was initially cleared, and Evans stooped on the 6-yard box to head in and put Athena ahead.
It's a bit of a surprising one. The first 60 minutes of this game, you'd expect Bayswater. They were good value for that 1-0 lead, but they've been pegged back here, and that penalty just a massive turning point.
Right, what have Bayswater got now? 8.5 minutes to play here. Gustavo Marilander and Jake Sardelich on, 1 change still in reserve. But as it stands, it's Floreat who'll get revenge for that 4-1 defeat in round 13 and win a second final between these two teams this season. Their second cup triumph in 4 seasons. Unless, of course, Bayswater can pile forward and snag an equaliser to take this into extra time. Evans plays the ball out to the goal scorer in Arnold. Boy. Ambrosio. Floreat just keeping possession at the moment, but still coming forward. perhaps looking to land a final blow on Bayswater that would surely see the cup land in their hands. They're 7 minutes away as it stands. As Arnold and Evans link up. And Evans looks to
Just clever there from
hold
Philip
up
Arnold.
possession, and he wins the foul expertly. Showing his experience there, Phil Arnold, who's a veteran forward. He scored 9 goals in 2018 and 4 this season. And that will be his final contribution, Arnold, as he makes way for Jack Painter-Andrews, a youngster who had a little bit of zip on this left-hand side in the final few minutes. As we see the match-winning goal as it stands, it was Boy's cross and Arnold stooping to beat Millard to the ball and head past Spence and Ryan Pearson on the line. Still plenty of time for Bayswater though. Trailing by 2-1 as Millard comes forward. Sardelic into Marilander. He tries to wriggle away and make a yard of space. And now Griffiths finds Pearson. Onto the Colombian Marilander. Stood up by Painter-Andrews, and Collie lunges trying to win possession, but it's Fuller who comes away with it. Evans does well to just retain possession. That's all that Floreat have to do, although 6 minutes is a long time to keep the ball, and Collie fouls Boy. A little bit of frustration there as he was a willing chaser.
Yeah, he's cut a frustrated figure in the past 10 minutes, or 5 minutes or so since they've been going down. Giordano Collie really in the referee's ear, making sure Floreat don't time waste, as we've got another substitution here.
Final change for Bayswater City. Adam Tong making way, and Todd Howarth coming on. Howarth, who should slot into that midfield position and try and ping the ball around in the final few minutes. Howarth, very experienced player who's yet to score in 2019. Ex-Perth Glory wide man, of course. 82 appearances and 5 goals for the A-League side. And that famous extra time winner against Wellington Phoenix in the minor semi-final in 2012, where the Glory got to the grand final only to be defeated by Brisbane Roar in the final, as Pet covered straight offside and Bayswater get the ball back. So that's what they need, Bayswater. They need to start thinking about getting a wriggle on in these final 4 minutes.
Well, with the introduction of Howarth, that means Hesketh will just drop into that centre-back role to replace Tong, who's come off. So just a slight change in shape for Bayswater.
Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 2. Live on the Football West Facebook page and YouTube channel. And this game coming to an exciting climax here. Can Bayswater find an equaliser? Here they come as Sardelic runs forward and launches a deep cross. Nickel won't get there, and Saldaris can take his time to get under the ball and claim under no attention. And that's just a disappointing ball from Sardelic there, with 2 players in the middle ready to receive it.
He has the fresh legs as well. He's only recently come on, so you expect his end product to be a bit better than that. Intercepted
by Fuller in midfield, and he'll run at Kay, and he gets around the defender. Now Boy in the area. Straight at Spence. Let off for Bayswater. And the visitors could have wrapped that up. We've got Brent Griffiths, I think it is, down in midfield, but Bayswater will play on. They know time is of the essence, as the clip ball forward is intercepted by Gallen, and now Griffiths is back to his feet.
Obviously no question of time wasting with them being behind, but they're going to need to get a wriggle on here.
Millard's throw is down the line and looking for Sardelic. He'll keep this in play and look to go in between two defenders, goes to ground, no free kick. And now Floreat can counter, but it's picked off well by Hesketh. And now Nickel into the area, stood up by Saldaris, came off Madashi. Corner for Bayswater.
Well, it's the 88th minute and Nickel still a threat for Bayswater. We saw him so late on in that 4-1 victory, showing plenty of gusto, plenty of energy. And he's going to need to summon all the energy he can to steer his side back into this one.
Not quite all or nothing just yet. Still 2 back in total, including the goalkeeper for Bayswater. Everybody else forward, though, within 30 yards of the goal. And Howarth will take this set piece. It's a deep one. It's deep, looking for Griffiths. Headed back in by Sardelic. Bit of ping-pong in the penalty area, but Floreat will do just enough to clear away. Painter Andrews looking to use his fresh legs to get on the end of it, but Pearson, in fact Hesketh it was, who did well to get in there and cut it out. And now the ball will break to Boy, who had that chance a moment ago to put the game out of Bayswater's reach. Millard forward now here for Sardelic. As we tick into the final minute before stoppage time, Bayswater City 1, Floreat Athena 2. And Floreat are in possession and they're at the right end of the ground as far as they're concerned. A throw-in conceded by Trent Kay, and Floreat, as you can imagine, are in no rush to get over and take this.
Bit of petulance there from
throw.
Griffiths. Understandable, but just trying to hurry things up.
Saudaris taking his full amount of time, and into the corner it goes.
Great defending from Kay.
Kay using his body fairly there to dismiss Painter Andrews. 4 minutes of added time here at Dorian Gardens. So, all or nothing time now for Bayswater, you feel. Floreat will look to make another change to perhaps run another 30 seconds off the clock, and they'll get it in just in time. It's Robert Harding who'll come on. 12 goals in 12 NPL under 20 appearances this season. I'm not sure he's coming on to score a goal really. He's just offering fresh legs and perhaps killing a bit of time for Athena. And it's Ludo Boy who'll make way, who's perhaps played the best game I've seen him play this season.
Yeah, certainly played the ball through for the goal that separates the two sides, and he gets a raucous applause from the Floreat faithful.
Scratchy starts the season for Boy, but back to full fitness now, and he'll be a handy weapon for Athena in the back part of the season. Flick on from Griffiths. Touched on by Howarth. Touched on again to Nickel, but great defending from Gallen, who scored the spot kick to equalise the scores, of course. A coolly taken kick that seems quite a while ago now. Pearson. Griffiths with a wayward pass. It'll stay with Bayswater, but it's unnecessary seconds taken off the clock. Tired legs now a factor as well. Both of these teams have put so much effort into this cup final. 90 minutes on the scoreboard at the far side. I can tell you we've played almost 2 minutes of second half stoppage time though. And there'll be a little bit more after that Floreat substitution, you'd think, as Fuller just says anywhere will do. Kay throws it to Griffiths. And now Sardelic to Howarth. Oh, Marilander scythed down by Gallen there, and he'll go into the book. It was a cynical foul there, but no risk taken with the cup possibly 2 minutes away. It was a really bad challenge from Gallen, in fact, and he was lucky there that he didn't connect with Marilander more.
Does he need to make that, though? With such little time remaining, it just gives a chance to Bayswater to pour men forward, and it would be a cruel twist of fate for Gallen, who scored that penalty to get them back in the game, if he was the one.
Can Bayswater create one last chance? It's Howarth's ball into the middle. Hesketh got his header to it. It'll come out to Pearson. Little clip ball through, looking for Sardelic. He's onside. Kay rises, hooked away by Ambrosio. Not cleared properly by Painter Andrews, but he'll still get to the ball anyway. In fact, I think that might be Harding who came away with it. And his ball finds Petkov, who's going to run to the corner. And
Clever
no, in fact, he'll switch
Clever
to the other side where Jebb's in support. Can he keep it in play? He does. As the seconds continue to click off the clock. And Jebb does well to win a corner as the floodlights come on.
That's what the doctor ordered from a Floreat perspective. Just brilliant play from Petkov there. The crowd urging him to play in the fresh legs of Harding, but perhaps it was a safer option playing Jebb on the right-hand side, and they've won themselves a corner, so great play from the big man up front.
I can't imagine this going too far. We've played 4 minutes of second half stoppage time. The allotted time is up. A couple of substitutions, though, and perhaps maybe just one last chance for Bayswater if they can get a wriggle on. It's Howarth, but his ball through for Griffiths doesn't quite find feet, and he concedes the foul, and that might just about be it.
Great desire from Ambrosio and a bit of cleverness as well. He's just pushed the ball away from that area so they can take more time. Great work from the midfielder.
Hard work defending there for Floreat. And still we play. Nearly 5 minutes of second half stoppage time played, and Evans will get this close to the corner as he can. Sardelic battling for possession. He wins it. Well done from Jake Sardelic, but more importantly, well done to Floreat Athena, who have triumphed in the Belt Up Cup State final. Floreat Athena win a second cup final in 4 years following a triumph in 2016. And they had to come from behind at Dorrien Gardens to win it. Daryl Nichols scored the opening goal on 51 minutes with a penalty. It snuck under the grasp of Saldaris, and Bayswater took the lead. But Dennis Gallen equalised with a penalty of Floreat's own when he dinked coolly down the middle to defy Spence. And it looked for so long as if these two teams wouldn't be split even before the two penalties went in. But then Dean Evans floated in a corner. The header was cleared only as far as Boy, and his cross found a stooping Phil Arnold, who wrote himself into Floreat folklore with a late winner. And Floreat Athena are going to get their hands on the trophy, Louis. What do you think to that?
Well, I think that Floreat was second best for the first hour of the game, but they came good when it counted. I just think that penalty that Gallen tucked away that we're going to see in a minute after Nichols' penalty of his own. I think that penalty from Gallen was just a real turning point. And up until that moment, Floreat had been second best, but they came good when it counted.
Just watching the goals back again as
so close.
We set up for the presentation. Sorry, Nichols scoring that opening goal there, and in a game where there was few chances to separate the sides, it seemed as if that was going to be pretty important, but Floreat roared back. Garrett McDouling didn't turn to the bench until later in the game, resisted the temptation to bring on some fresher legs, and his experienced players in Gallen and Arnold delivered when it mattered most. Frustration for Bayswater, as you can see on your screens, but they've got an opportunity to put this behind them pretty quickly on Wednesday when they play Olympic FC of Brisbane in the FFA Cup round of 32, as we see Gallen's coolly taken penalty again, and as Louis said before, a touch of the Cristiano Ronaldo's about the celebration.
I think that was the turning point. That was the moment of the game. And their penalty sort of came, not out of nowhere, but they hadn't really built the momentum. And Gallen, when he stepped up, he's a centre-back. A few eyebrows were raised, but not after he took it. Magnificent composure, magnificent bottle. And they eventually would go on to work their way back into this one. And they've won the second bit of silverware on offer this season after winning the night series final.
A controversial award was that penalty, but nothing controversial about that winning goal. And Phil Arnold did really well there, didn't need to lunge and get ahead to that, and there was nothing that Ryan Pearson could do on the line.
Great moment for Ludovic Boy as well. We touched on his injury-interrupted campaign at the start of this season and the end of last, so he put that ball in for Philip Arnold to score the winner. And as you can see, Floreat beginning their celebrations.
Floreat posing for a photo as Jason Saudaris slides in and sneaks in at the bottom of the picture. Brilliant to see so many young players there wearing the Floreat Athena jackets and merchandise as well. It's a tremendous day for them and a tremendous day for their loyal fans, as you can see. And the celebrations are about to get underway very shortly, and I'm sure after a game like this they may just tick long into the night. We're just awaiting an opportunity to cross down pitch side for the presentations very shortly. We'll come back to you afterwards to wrap up. The winners' medals are out and the photographers are all in place, ready to go. Wonderful crowd in attendance this afternoon, of course. A lot of them have moved closer towards the pitch now to celebrate with their side. Those wearing the Floreat colours are anyway. And a couple of the Bayswater fans have left, but many have stayed to applaud Floreat and show appreciation to a well-fought clash between two sides who I'm sure we'll face each other in the end of season shake-up.
Well, both sides, remember, have FFA Cup games to look forward to as we get the presentations underway.
Down to Kaleshi and Sumo with the presentations.
Congratulate both teams to an enthralling cup final. As we commence with the presentations, I would now like to invite the Insurance Commission. I would now like to invite one of our sponsors from the Insurance Commission of Western Australia, the Commission Secretary, Kane Blackman, to come and say a few words. Kane, please, welcome back.
Thank you. Cheers. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to watch this game today, and commiserations to Baysy and congratulations to Floreat Athena on a fantastic victory. The Insurance Commission is very proud to sponsor the Belt Up Final and Football West. We gave 2,000 footballs to community football teams this year. Now that takes cost out of the community clubs and it promotes the Belt Up message. It's a simple message. Wear a seatbelt on the way home and make sure you don't get killed or injured in a car crash. It's a very simple message, so please belt up, and we look forward to partnering next year with Football West. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kane, and thank you once again to our sponsors, the Insurance Commission of the campaign Belt Up. I would now like to call upon Sharif Andros, Football West Chairman, Alex Novatsis from Football West, and Kane to assist in the presentations. Could the four match officials please come forward to collect their medallions? Referee, Josh Manella. Assistant referee, Simon Hicks. Assistant referee 2, Shimer Loyich. And the fourth official, Matthew Southern. Ladies and gentlemen, In the final, a player judged to be the best on ground will be awarded the San Lazaridis Medal. I now invite forward Alex Novatsis, Football West Head of Member Services, to present the medal to today's winner on behalf of Stan Lazaridis.
Thanks, Kalichi. Today's winner was a difficult one to pick. However, we've gone for Floreat Athena number 6, Jessie Fuller.
I should have my shirt.
Congratulations, Jesse. Now, could the runners-up from Bayswater City please come forward to collect your medals, to be presented by Sharif. Number 1, Devon Spence. Number 3, Jack Allen. Number 6, Todd Howarth. Number 2, Declan Hargreaves. Number 5, Adam Harris. Number 7, Hayden Doyle. Number 9, Gustavo Maralunda. Number 10, Jason Mirko. Number 11, Ryan Pearson. Number 12, Steve Hesketh. Number 13, Trent Kay. Number 17, Daryl Nickel. Number 18, Brent Griffiths. Number 19, Gordon Smith. Number 20, Giordano Colley. Number 22, Logan Rindell. Number 24, Jake Sardelich. Number 25, Sam Riley. Number 26, Ross Millard. And number 30, Adam Tong. Can the Bayswater coaching staff also please come forward, led by head coach Chris Coyne, Alan Vernals, Stuart Moses, Damian Catalano, and David Mayola. Congratulations once again to Bayswater City, and thank you, Sharif, for your insistence. I would now like to call upon Kane to assist in the presenting of the winners' medals and their trophies. Ladies and gentlemen, could the winners from Floreat Athena please come forward to collect their medals? Number 1, Jason Saldaris. Number 3, Tristan Coley. What up, Mary? Number 6, Stan Lazaridis medal winner, Jessie Fuller. Number 9, Robert Petkoff. Number 11, he had the composer for a Panenka, Dennis Gallen. Number 15, Chris Saldaris. Number 19, Ryan Melton. Number 18, Phil Arnold. Number 23, Jordan Barbers. Number 29, Jack Painter Andrews. Number 32, Robert Harding. Number 13, George Fester. Number 10, Nick Ambrosio. Number 14, Ludovic Boy. Number 5, Thomas Jebb. Number 4, Adrian Madashi. And your captain, number 17, Dean Evans. Can the coaching staff, led by head coach Gareth McDooling, Tim Cash, Jesse Diaz, Fred Vannon, David Rice. Hey guys, if these guys are here, please come forward as well. Marco Santolucia, Tristan Colley, John Steins, if he's available, please come forward and get your medal. Tyler Holden, if you're here as well, and Jacob Stubberfield. Now if Captain Evans and Coach McDooling please come forward to collect the 2019 Belt Up Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 Belt Cup final winners, Floreat, Athena. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's events. We hope you enjoyed the game and thank you for your continued support of football in WA. Please take care exiting the venues and make sure you get home safely. Thanks once again to the Insurance Commission of Western Australia and Belt Up. Congratulations once again to Floreat Athena. God bless and good night.
So Floreat Athena lift the 2019 Belt Up State Cup final in front of a healthy crowd here at Dorrien Gardens this afternoon. All of the match reports from all three cup finals today. Bayswater in the under-18s, Perth Glory winners in the reserves, and Floreat Athena in the seniors are available on the Football West website sometime tonight or tomorrow. And of course, you'll be able to hear some audio reaction from players and managers on the NPLWA podcast during the week with Cohen. So that's just about a wrap from us here at Dorrien Gardens. Final thoughts, Louis, just quickly.
Oh, just a fantastic game. Floreat, perhaps for the first hour, were second best, as I mentioned, but they came good at when it counts. Crucial penalty from Gallant, and they've got their second piece of silverware for the season.
Certainly came to life in that second half period. 3 goals, Floreat, the team to triumph in 2019. On behalf of Football West, the hard-working filming and production team around us, Kaleshi, who commentated on the earlier games, and Louis, who's been alongside me this afternoon. My name's Tommy Dolman, and we'll see you for a future broadcast. Floreat Athena, your 2019 Belt Up State Cup final winners. Goodbye.